Hello guys, welcome to CloudBuy. In today's sessions, I'm going to discuss how to set up physical DataGuard in Oracle 19c. Okay, so this will be the Oracle Active DataGuard simple architectures. You can say this is the primary database. Okay, and you are also having the secondary standby database. You know, these DataGuards we normally use for the disaster recovery purposes. Okay, so in case of disasters, if the primary is not available, we can fail over to the standby. Also, it is used in the planned disaster recovery, like the switchover kind of stuffs. So the mainly the things happens in the primary database. There is a redo is generated. You know that whenever there is a changes, there is a redo generated, and the redo streams got replicated to the standby datalog files. Okay, and then it is applied to the standby database. In the previous generation DataGuard technique, it was physical archive files get copied through the network to the standby database, but nowadays it's done through the redo streaming. Okay, so we're gonna show you how to do that. Okay, and the last I am also going to address few of the newest features in the Oracle 19c architectures, like the DML replications. Also, I'll try to discuss like zero data loss at any distance, automatic block repair. When there is a zero data loss, it's something the Oracle DataGuard having 3 protection mode: maximum reliability, maximum performance, and maximum protections. One node is asynchronous and other 2 node is synchronous. Like maximum availability, maximum performance is asynchronous mode, and the rest of the 2 modes are synchronous. So I'll show you that what they look like and how to set up, and also discuss some of the steps, okay, if the time permits. Okay, now this is the high level steps I'm going to discuss today. The first steps will be that we will be creating a primary Oracle 19c database in OCI. So though the topic directly not related to any kind of cloud platform, but I will be performing this entire steps in the OCI level. So the second steps, I will be performing the setups of primary and standby servers, and the third steps we will be doing the broker related steps, like DMG GRL steps. And the fourth steps, I will be showing you how to do the switchover, failover, and some of the 19c related features. Okay. Now we are going to create a compute instance. So I am in the compute instance page. This is, you can get it from the the burger sandwich menu, and choose this compute at the instance. Here we have to do that. We have to choose the compartment. If you don't choose, this will be in the default root, so I'll chosen my compartment. Okay, then I'll click the create instance, put the instance name. I'm putting my instance name as a source because I'll be using this instance for my DataGuard primary, so I'll be using as a source. Compartment is a database. Okay, placement and hardware availability domain, this is good. Image, there are different images available, like Oracle, Ubuntu, Linux, Microsoft, Windows, something like that. So you can check the change shape, you can see what is there, but I am good with the particular Linux version. Now come about the shape. There are, I'll click the shape. There are first option is the instance type. One is the virtual machine, and another is the bare metal machine, which is a entire physical server. So the virtual machine will suffice my requirement. And there is a shape series. Either there is a AMD, what kind of processor you want, AMD, Intel, and the previous generation, or the specialty and previous generation. You can click individual things and see the list. Like here, what is there? Okay, like Intel, if you go to the Intel, you can see that there are higher memory instances are available, but for my requirement I will choose the specialty and previous generation. So here you can see that there is a one always free instance, that is you won't incur any charge for that, but this will not suffice my requirement because I am going to install the 19c there database. So for me I am choosing this the standard E2.1, which is having the one OCPU. OCPU is something like vCPU, virtual CPU, or it's called Oracle OCPU, and it's, you can say it is kind of a core, OS core, and the memory is 8 GB. So I'll select the shape. Okay, so now that comes to the networking, I know that my virtual cloud networking is database and subnet. I can choose any subnets because I am having 3.1, all are public. I'll choose 3 is okay for me. Now comes about the public IP access, IP address. Yes, assign a public IP address because I am going to logging from my laptop. Now this portion is very important. Add SSH key. How you can log in? There are multiple options, like if you don't want to log in, no SSH keys. If you have existing, if you want to, you can generate from here SSH key pair. You can choose the public key files and paste the public keys. For me, I'll show you how to generate a SSH key from my First of all, there is a lot of option is there. You can put this key length, like what is the size, 2048 4096. You can give a name, but the easiest thing is the SSH key gen. So this will create a public private RSA key pairs in your default ss.ssh id RSA. You can put a file name, but I don't give anything. Then enter passphrase. Passphrase is something like the second level of authentication. If your something key got hacked, you can give a passphrase. For me, it's okay. I'll choose no passphrase. So what happens? It will create SSH folder, and on inside the SSH folder, it will have one public key and one private key. So I'll just get the public key. Okay, I'll copy, and here I'll paste the public key, SSH keys. Okay, now about the boot volumes, you know that when you create a compute instance, there could be some storage volumes, and you can put and boot volume is already attached. You can put a custom boot volume size, like if you put I'll just show you what you can put. Whatever 50 GB is the minimum, up to 32.78 terabytes. Okay, for me, let's put 50 GB. You can use in transit encryptions. You can put the transit, it's already encrypted in the rest, but you can put the transit encryption as well. Okay, and show the advanced options. But I am not going to choose anything advanced options, placement groups, cloud agent, something like that. I am not going to choose anything. So create. So it will take couple of seconds, maybe a minute, less than a minute, to create the instance. Once it is done, we'll discuss about further. Okay, you can see that my instance is currently running. It is got an IP address, it's got a username OPC, okay, and other details. So the next part is that I have to create log into the instance. So I'll copy the IP address, I'll clear. Okay, so it's very simple. OPC @IP. Yes. Okay, so I can able to connect to the instance. Now if you don't able to log in here, there could be many problem, maybe issue with this SSH. Okay, if you name the SSH key, if you have any kind of name, what you have to do that, just I will show you. Suppose if you have any name, if you have given a name of the SSH key, sometimes you have to do it like this, like the key name or something like that. Okay, and if you else have any kind of issue, like it is it's not it's just timeout, then you are having a problem with your security list. Maybe you know that though the security list it should be okay, I'll go back to I'll just show you when you will go to the virtual cloud network, okay, and I'll check the security list, default security list. You can see it is already available. This is by default 22, but if any case you could not log in, check your ingress rules. Okay, so I'll go back to my instance. Now this is my instance, and it's having some space in here in the root, some 50 GB of space. The next steps, what I'm going to do, that I'll be installing the Oracle. I'll be installing the prerequisites and installing the Oracle software 19c in my computer instance. Okay. Well, welcome back to CloudVibe. Now onwards we are going to discuss about this DataGuard steps. As I said, this will be our simple architectures. This is our primary database. We name is the server name is as a source, and there will be a radio transfer happens that will be transferred over the inside this here. It will be a same VCN for the demo purposes, but ideally is DataGuard used for the disaster recovery. In place of cloud, it will be could be a different region, so it will be transferred. The lock shipping will be transferred, radio transfer will happens, and then it will be applied to the standby datalocks. It could be, as I said, it depends on the protection mode. It could be asynchronous or synchronous. Okay, and there's the steps we are going to discuss now, and I will be showing you as a demo. Okay, you can see that, as I said, my source is there. I already created a image, and which I'll be going to use as my target. Okay, so this is my source. I'm using as again another thing as target. Let me log in as a target. Okay, let me use a different background color so that it's easier to understand this as a target. Okay, this is my target. You can see the host name. Yes, my target, and this is my source. Okay, and this is my source. So I am going to now perform the steps. The first steps is that we have to do the setup for the primary and the standby server. Okay, so first there is two prerequisites in the primary for the DG purposes. First of all, it should be archive log mode should be on, and force logging should be on. Now, why you can ask me the why archive log should be on, because if I'll go for a traditional way where the archive log shipping happens, so this way the archive log should be on, otherwise force logging should be on is sufficient. But I'll make everything both here, so that both archive log and the force logging is also should be on. Okay, archive log list, no archive log, shut immediate. startup mount. I'll mount the database and I will change the archive block mode and open the database. Which is the archive block list command. Yes, and similarly I'll force logging, and also I'll check with the switch logging options that is switching is happening perfectly. Yeah. Okay, now the next thing is that I have to create this standby data locks for the primary database. It's required for the switchovers. Okay, since I know that my log file size is 50 MB, data log size, I will be creating the same size as the 50 MB. Okay, so let me create some directory here. The directory is already present, so I'll be creating this standby data logs. You can see what is there inside. Okay, there is a data log is already present. I will be going to create the standby data logs. Okay, now this steps is optional, but this is something required if we want to the later whenever we are going to flashback, because if I enable flashback, and there is a two mode of, one is the maintenance activity is called switchover, whenever primary becomes standby and standby become primary. And if it is a real if there is a real problem happens, which is called failover, where primary it's failover fail back to standby, and it's only we can reinstate the primary to if the failover option is flashback option is open. So for flashback options I have to enable this one, db recovery file test, and I'm going to restart my database. The db distance is required because I have used the scope is equal to sp file. Once this is done, I am going to enable the flashback on. Okay, sorry, I have not put this db recovery file test. I have to put as well. Okay, now I have to restart again. Okay, says that the particular directory is not present, so I'll make the directory. That's why it's not able to start up. Okay, since I'll put both the db recovery file test and db recovery file test size, now I can enable the flashback on. Okay, database is now on flashback. The next things on the initialization file, initialization parameters has to be set next. So I'll check both the db names and db unique name. This is set, and db unique name should be also same. Okay, so what's this say? The db name of the standby database will be the same as the primary database, but it must have a different db unique name. Okay, we'll do this particular steps later. First I will be saying the standby file management should be auto in the primary side. Okay, now it's here comes this about the service setups for the both the listeners and the TNS for the primary and standby. You know that we already set up something the listeners for our during our 19C installations video, so it's mostly done. I'll just show you what is there the listeners looks like. Okay, so it is mostly done. I am having another additional entry for the PDB. That's not a problem. So listener part for the primary is done. Okay, now for the TNS I have to add on another entry for CDB as standby, which is not there. Okay, so because I already having entry for the CDB1 and PDB1, so I am going to add an entry here for CDB1 standby, and here it should be target1 for my source host name for the standby is target, so this should be the value. Okay, so here comes my primary entries are done for both the TNS names and for listeners. Now coming to the standby also, first I have to add for the listener is sufficient because I'll be doing for the listeners. Okay, and also will be doing the later will be doing for the TNS as well. Now I'm going to start my work on the target side. Similarly on the target sides, okay, this is the target side listeners. I'm going to put now my thing is all target. Rest of the stem is same. Okay, now the next part is that I have to go for the standby server setups and prepare for duplicate. I will be running a rmn duplicate command. Okay, for that I have to create a parameter file, and we need only one single entry for the parameter file, that is db name. So I can put anywhere. Let me put in files and okay, Before doing that, let me put some directories. These directories, some of them are created, some of them is not, so I'll try to create all these things. Why some of them are created? Because this is I have taken a image copy, so some of them already created. You can see that some of the things has got failed with the permission denied because I might not have been permission, so I can fix that. So I'll run again. Done. The password file, I believe these are already there because this password file I already copied. I just want to show you. Because it's my image, but let me create a password file. Password file, my sys password is welcome 789. It should be under DBS. Okay, let me move the password file first. Okay, now the problem is that if I'll change these things, it will again, I have to again create the sys password for the primary. Okay, because the primary sys password is not taking by this ORA PW utility. It's like is telling that it should have kind of a special character which I don't have in my primary level, so better I'll just rename my password file. This should be good. Okay, it should be good because it's kind of image copy, but I can create if what I have to do, that I have to create a new sys password at there, and then I have to create the kind of a like password here, like ORA PWC password, ORA PW password here. Okay, the next things, I am going to start a database. No mount stage. It's startup no mount file files for my files locations. It's simple, it is only a DB name is there, so it is started. The later in IP table, though I have disabled sims, I just want to in IP tables commands I have seen previously that some of the, when I will try to log in from primary to connect, in between connects from primary to standby, sometimes it's could not accept the traffic, so it's better to enable the traffic for the both the stuffs. So I'll log in back to the root, and I'll run these commands. IP tables, it will accept the input, accept, output accept, forward accept. Last time I had this problem with these connections in between the servers, so it will show you what is there. IP table F, so it will flash. Similarly, this command I will run in the source side. So force command, it will reload the IP tables with the new targets. Now I'll try to connect from, let me log back and set this Oracle home and Oracle seed. Let me connect, see if I can connect there. Oh my god, there's some typo I did here. I did not set this correctly. Okay, that's why it's not coming. Let me try to connect the RMAN. Okay, it's saying that TNS could not resolve. This could not connect to this auxiliary database. Okay, we'll check what can be done. See, because we have not set up the TNS entry for standby. So this is my standby TNS admin locations. So if you see the TNS entry, this already it's still there for the source TNS because it's a mirror copy. So I have to change it to the standby level. So let me change it, cdp1 stpy. Okay, and host name also should be changed. Should be target, and the service name also should be changed. Okay, now go back to Oracle home bin, TNS ping b1 stpy. So it can, now it can ping. Let me run the RMAN again. Well, the earlier issue I had with connecting with this auxiliary instance is because there was some wrong entries in the TNS entries for my target systems. I just want to show you what I did. So I just copied the TNS entries from my source to the target. So once this is done, you can say that I can't able to log in as an auxiliary without any issues. So let me try with RMAN command as well. Okay, yes, it's done. So previously I was getting error like this was the error I was getting. Okay, so just another thing I want to show you, this is the Oracle node for the error. It's having 3 solutions. I already have these things with me because if you see my TNS entries, I already having a static entry with Oracle home SID here as mentioned in this particular node. Option 1, create a static entry for the auxiliary database in the listener.rota files of the auxiliary database Oracle home and insert the listener. This was already there. What was not there for me, the wrong TNS entries. Okay, so now I am going to connect these things. Okay, another thing I did in between this point, I changed the passwords to the with some as per Oracle recommended passwords. So I incorporated a hash. I also change in the source side, also create a PWD file here, but I don't think so that is the issue. The issue was there with the wrong DNS entry. So let me try to connect here now with both the target and auxiliary. This command I will run from target. Okay, so my target is my source and auxiliary is my standby itself. Now I am going to run this one. This command, this is a duplicate command I will going to run. Okay, since nothing is there in my database, it should be quite quick. So once it is done, I'll get back and proceed with the next steps. My duplicate is finished now. Now I'll proceed with the rest of the steps for the broker steps. For the broker, I have to perform some of the steps in the set broker DG broker start is equal to true. Now I have to perform the DGMGRL steps. Should be password is welcome 789. Okay, now I'll create the configuration first. There is create configurations. Configuration name, primary database is CDB1 and connect identifier is also CDB1. Okay, next thing is that add database. I'll be adding database as a CDB1 standby. That I was getting an error at the time of adding this CDB1 standby. It's because I did not started the DG broker start in the target side, so I added that the command alter system set DG broker start is equal to true, scope is equal to both. After that I can successfully add the database. So henceforth I will proceed with the next steps. The next step is I'll enable the configurations, the source side. Okay. Okay, enabled. I'll see both the CDB1 and CDB1 standby. Okay, and the CDB1 standby status as well. Okay. So the role is physical standby. Intent and state is equal to apply on. Transport lag, there is nothing. Okay. So I'll also say the CDB on transport lock status. It's good. No error. So now let me put some new tables. Something so that we can generate some traffic here. DML. So this is my source. What I did, I'll open the PDB open. I'll open it was in mountain state, so I open, and also I'll log in as a PDB, and I am going to create some table. Say I'm going to create a table. Now let's see the lag. I'll see the lag using this command. Check the sync status. So okay, let me do the same things. I'll show PDBs. Okay, let me try to open the database read-only mode and open the PDB. Okay, PDB is open. Let me connect to the PDB and try to check whether it came or not. DSCT1, yes, it came. DSCT2, it came. Select star from T2. Okay, select count 1 from T1 is 72,352. Let me take a check here in the source side. Same, so it is already so redo sync happens and it is already replicated, or you can say that at the DG side. So I can do some few more checks, like maybe I can perform a switchover. So okay, so I can, but before performing the switchover I have to put it in a mounted back. So I'll shut immediate. Why I'm doing that? Because I just intentionally started the standby database in read-only mode to check the table status. Now I'm putting back into the mount stage for the switchover. So I'll be performing the switchover right now. Okay, it says member is not enabled. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, yes, but it was not ready. Okay, switchover is happening now. After that I will be checking this database status. You can see the CDB is now mounted. That means it's come as a, and CDB1 primary database is saying that CDB1 standby is now primary database, and the CDB is mounted. That means it is this will act as a standby. So but I can definitely check through the command. Okay, you can see the CDB is now become physical standby. Similarly, I will check the show database command for the CDB1 standby. Okay, CDB1 standby is now primary. Okay, so if I'll perform my switchover again. Switchover is a planned activity. Sometimes we'll do that to check if the things are working in the DG sites. So switchover to CDB1 is happening now. New primary database is CDB1 is opening. That means CDB1 is back as a primary, and the CDB1 standby will be back as a standby instance, physical standby. I will check this again. So database CDB1, yeah, it's primary, and then show database CDB1 standby. Okay, that's good. The next steps I'll be doing failover. Failover is a incident. This is not a planned activity. You how to do a failover. As I said, failover is a incident, so it is unplanned activity where the in case of primary is not available, in case of any disaster or any kind of failure, so the failover could automatically happens and the standby become the primary. Okay, so we'll be performing this failover. I am already in the DGMGRL prompt, so I'm just failing over. Okay, sorry, I have to connect to the CDB1 standby. Okay, now I will be doing this failover. Okay, just try to understand what I did mistakes, because I try to connect to I was connected in the CDB1, but failover means the standby is not, the CDB1 is not available. That means I can connect from here itself. That means this box is no longer available, it looks like. So that means I can connect from my target box because my source is not available. Okay, it's done, it's gone, and I can do the failover. Okay, failover succeeded. Let me show the status. This is the new primary. Okay, now the next thing is that there is options, since I have already enabled the flashback. So once the I can restore my source once it's done. Suppose I restored my source, and that time since I can't put it back to the standby again, if that is only feasible if I'll put it the flashback is on. So that means the source was down due to some issues, due to some disasters. Failover already happened to the target. Okay, so now it is primary. Now somehow I can restore the box, the source target. Now I want to reinstate to the database CDB1 as a standby, so I can do that, but provided that it is already in the flashback. Okay, so there is a command for that. It's called database reinstate database CDB1. So I have to apply this command on the standby database level. Okay, so it is reinstating. Not in the, please note, it's supposed to be there in the new primary and not in the other primary one. But the other primary one is no longer caters as a primary. So if you have to reinsert these things, the CDB1, which was the earlier primary, you have to do it on a target server, which is the primary after failover. Okay. So if I'll show the status, you can see it's now acting as a physical standby. Okay, so it reinstate is completed, done. Another few steps I just want to show you. Suppose in the standby level, okay, so like this is the standby now. So can let me perform okay, what I'm going to do that I'll show you something. Let me perform a switch over and I'll show you what I mean by that. I'll just switch over to my original situations, so that target server will be standby, physical standby, and the source server will be primary. Okay, so this is the process. This is a command, that is alter database require manage standby database disconnect from session. So another thing is that since 11G you can do the replications in the as well as run the read-only queries, so that in active mode, like in the read-only mode, and also performing the manage recovery at the same time. But this is supported, but I believe this is also comes under some kind of additional licensing. So but you can do this read-only mode, and you can at the same time you can also replicate, like I can show you something. If I'll put alter database open, it should be read-only, I believe. Okay, read only, yes. Let's do some more fun. Okay, same thing we did earlier. We'll insert into T2 values. Let's set the alter containerization for, and I will select star from T2 is 8. Yes, those are came. So that means in a read-only mode it's continuous, it's radio sync is happening. Now I want to check, select start from T1. No row selected because it's truncated happens. So that proves that, you know, it's continuously syncing and the radio sync is happening even in the read-only mode. Okay, so this is a new feature from starting from, I'll not say new feature, it's quite an old feature starting from 11G. It's there, but it's attracts some kind of licensing cost. Okay, so most of the steps I want to show I already shown. Some additional steps I am going to show you, like in the 19C features, which I will be discussing next, like DML DML redirection. This is the new features where we can permit of 5% of DML activity in the standby side, but this is something only in case of needed, and Oracle recommended less than 5%, up to 5% concept. And the zero data loss at any distance, this is something we will discuss. I will show you that there is a 3 protection mode: maximum performance, maximum availability, and maximum protections, where maximum availability is asynchronous, maximum performance is asynchronous, because here it is maximum performance, and maximum availability and maximum protections is synchronous activities, but there is some flaws on that. So I'll discuss all these things, and also try to discuss about automatic block repair. What is the concept is that how Oracle 19C DataGuard used to do that. Okay, so that I will be discussing in my next phase. Okay, so thank you, stay tuned.